The next morning, Rivertown was quiet, with the soft chirping of birds and the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. Anna woke early thinking about her decision. She had spent days in the town enjoying the calm life and her time with Tom, but the letter from her assistant still weighed heavily on her mind. She knew she could not ignore her responsibilities forever, yet her heart pulled her toward the small town and the kind mechanic who had changed her life. Anna decided to visit Tom at the garage one last time before making her choice. She drove slowly through the streets, noticing the shops, the children playing, and the warm greetings from the townspeople. Everything seemed more vivid, more meaningful than before. When she arrived, Tom was fixing a tractor, humming quietly as he worked. He looked up and smiled when he saw her. "Good morning, Anna," he greeted. "What brings you here so early?" "I wanted to see you," Anna said softly. "I have something important to think about, and I wanted to talk to you first." Tom set down his tools and wiped his hands. He could see the seriousness in her eyes. "Okay, let's sit for a moment." They walked to the small bench near the garage and sat side by side, the morning sun warming their faces. Anna took a deep breath. "Tom, these past days in Rivertown, they have been the happiest I have ever felt. I have met people who are kind, and I have met you. You have shown me that life does not have to be complicated to be wonderful. But I also have responsibilities back home, my work, my family, my life in the city. I cannot ignore it completely." Tom nodded quietly, listening carefully. He wanted to encourage her to follow her heart, even if it meant letting her go. Anna continued, "I came here looking for peace, but I found something more. I found someone who cares about me for who I am, not what I have. You, Tom, I feel a connection I have never felt before." Tom's heart raced. He had felt the same way but had not wanted to pressure her. He took her hand gently. "Anna, you don't need to explain everything to me. I care about you too, and I want you to be happy, wherever that is. If your heart wants to stay, I would be honored. If it calls you elsewhere, I will understand." Anna looked into his eyes, seeing sincerity, warmth, and honesty. She felt safe, valued, and understood in a way she never had before. For the first time, she realized that wealth and status did not matter. What mattered was trust, care, and genuine connection. After a long silence, Anna smiled. "Tom, I have made my choice. I want to stay here with you. I want to be a part of Rivertown, even if only for a while, because this is where I feel truly happy." "With you?" Tom's eyes lit up. He smiled widely, unable to hide his joy. "Anna, that is wonderful. You don't know how happy that makes me." They both laughed softly, feeling the tension lift from the air. The townspeople passing by waved at them, sensing the warmth between the two friends. Rivertown had witnessed many moments in its quiet life, but this one felt special, full of hope and new beginnings. The day continued with small adventures. They walked along the river, visited the bakery, and even helped some neighbors with simple chores. Anna realized that life in Rivertown was different. Here she could be herself without the weight of expectations. She could enjoy moments with Tom, laugh freely, and feel a love that was genuine and pure. That evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in shades of gold and pink, Anna and Tom sat on the riverbank. She leaned against him, feeling the comfort of a simple touch. For the first time, Anna knew that true happiness was not in wealth or fame. It was in moments shared with people who truly cared. And Tom had given her more than that. He had given her the chance to love and be loved for who she truly was. Rivertown had changed her life forever, and with Tom by her side, she knew that the future held endless possibilities. The morning in Rivertown was calm and bright. Birds sang cheerfully, and the soft breeze carried the scent of flowers through the streets. Anna woke early, feeling a sense of peace she had never known before. For the first time in her life, she was not thinking about responsibilities, deadlines, or wealth. She was thinking about Rivertown, the people, and most of all, Tom. Tom was already at the garage when she arrived. He was busy fixing an old bicycle for one of the town's children, but when he saw Anna, his face lit up. "Good morning, Anna," he said warmly. "Good morning, Tom," she replied, smiling. "Are you busy today?" Tom shook his head. "Not really. I was just finishing this up. I have the whole day free. Would you like to go for a walk?" Anna nodded. Together they walked through the quiet streets, visiting their favorite spots, the library, the bakery, and the old bridge by the river. Everywhere they went, people greeted Anna with smiles and waves. She felt at home in a way she had never felt anywhere else. As they reached the riverbank, Anna stopped and looked at the water. The sunlight reflected off the surface, making it sparkle like tiny diamonds. She turned to Tom and said softly, "Thank you for showing me this place. It feels like a dream, but it is real. And it is real because of you." Tom smiled, feeling warmth in his chest. "You don't need to thank me, Anna. You belong here. You make Rivertown brighter just by being here." Anna laughed lightly, a sound that made Tom's heart flutter. "I never thought I could be happy without all the luxuries of the city. But now I realize I have everything I need, friends, kind people, and you." Tom stopped walking and looked into her eyes. "Anna, I want you to know something. You have changed my life too. I never thought someone like you would choose to stay here with me. I feel lucky every day to have met you." Anna felt a rush of happiness. She reached for his hand, holding it gently. "Tom, I want us to be together. Not just as friends, but as someone who cares for each other every day. I want to share my life with you, even if it is simple and quiet." Tom's smile widened. He squeezed her hand gently. "I want that too, Anna, more than anything." From that moment, their days in Rivertown were filled with joy. Anna helped Tom in the garage, learned more about fixing engines, and shared laughter with the townspeople. They went for long walks, enjoyed fresh pastries from the bakery, and spent quiet evenings by the river talking and dreaming about the future. Anna's presence brought a new energy to the town. She volunteered at the library and helped organize small events for the children. Tom watched with pride as she connected with people, always kind, always humble, never showing off her wealth. He realized that Anna's true beauty was in her heart, not in her riches. Months passed and their bond grew stronger. Rivertown became their home, a place where love and friendship flourished. Anna no longer felt torn between her world of wealth and her life in the town. She had found something far more valuable, a life full of meaning, laughter, and love. One evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in shades of gold and pink, Anna and Tom sat on the riverbank. The water reflected the colors of the sky, and the gentle breeze carried the sweet scent of flowers. "Tom," Anna said softly, leaning against him, "I am glad I found Rivertown, but I am even more glad I found you." Tom held her close. "And I am glad you stayed, Anna. This town, this life is better with you in it." They sat in silence for a while, enjoying the calm and the simple happiness that surrounded them. For Anna, the world of wealth and fame no longer mattered. For Tom, the quiet town had become a place full of love and hope. Together, they had discovered that true happiness is found not in riches, but in kindness, honesty, and the heart of someone who truly cares. Rivertown had given them a fresh start, and with their hands held together, Anna and Tom knew that their new beginning would be filled with love, joy, and a lifetime of simple, unforgettable moments. The cold wind touched the empty streets of a small town near the edge of the forest. Among the shadows of broken benches and street lamps, a man named Daniel walked slowly. His clothes were old, his shoes had holes, and his face showed years of struggle. Daniel had no home, no family near him, and no money in his pocket. Every night he searched for a safe corner where he could rest, but safety was never promised to a man without a roof. Daniel was not always like this. Once he had worked with his hands, building wooden furniture and repairing broken houses. He was skilled with tools and strong in spirit, but life had turned against him. Work became rare, debts grew heavy, and finally he found himself on the streets. Yet even in the middle of hardship, Daniel carried a small spark of hope. He believed that one day a chance would come, and he would not let it slip away. That chance arrived on a quiet morning. The town was almost empty, and Daniel walked near the marketplace searching for leftover bread or a kind stranger. As he passed an old notice board, his eyes caught a piece of paper pinned at the side. The words were simple: help needed, cabin repairs, good pay, ask at the bakery. Daniel's heart beat faster. He had not seen an offer of work in months. He stood there for a moment reading the paper again, making sure it was real. The promise of good pay seemed almost too much, but he had nothing to lose. He walked straight to the bakery mentioned in the note. The bakery was warm, filled with the smell of fresh bread and sweet rolls. Daniel stepped inside carefully, aware of how poor he looked among the clean shelves. Behind the counter stood a woman, her dark hair tied back and her hands busy with dough. She looked at him with calm eyes, not judging his torn coat or his rough face. "You are here for the repair work?" she asked kindly. Yes, Daniel said with a steady voice. I can do repairs. I know wood, tools, and cabins. I can fix almost anything if you give me a chance. The woman studied him for a moment. She noticed the calluses on his hands and the quiet strength in his voice. Then she gave a small smile. My name is Anna, she said. The cabin belongs to me. It needs a lot of work. The roof leaks, the walls are weak, and the windows are broken. If you are ready, we can walk there today. Payment will not be a problem. Daniel nodded quickly, surprised by her direct trust. He followed Anna as she led him through the edge of the town toward the forest path. The trees grew taller as they walked, and the sound of birds filled the air. It had been a long time since Daniel walked this deep into nature. After an hour, they reached the cabin. It stood in silence, half hidden by branches. The roof had black stains from rain, the wooden steps were broken, and the glass of one window was shattered. Daniel looked at it carefully, and instead of despair, he felt energy rise inside him. This was work he understood, and for the first time in years, he felt useful again. Anna watched him as he studied every detail. He walked around the cabin, touched the walls, and tested the strength of the door. His eyes were sharp and his hands moved with memory. She could see he was not a man pretending. He truly knew what he was doing. This cabin can be saved, Daniel finally said. It will take time, but I can bring it back to life. Anna smiled gently. Then the work is yours. Start tomorrow. I will bring you food and tools. All I ask is that you give your best. Daniel felt a lump in his throat. He had been forgotten by the world, yet this woman offered him a chance without asking for his past. He bowed his head slightly. Thank you, he said quietly. I will not waste this. As the sun began to set, Daniel stood before the broken cabin. It was more than wood and nails to him. It was hope, a door that might lead him out of the shadows. He did not know who Anna truly was or what secrets she carried. He only knew that his hands had found work again, and his heart had found a spark of purpose. That night, as he lay under the stars near the cabin, Daniel closed his eyes with a rare feeling of peace. Tomorrow, his new journey would begin. The next morning, the sun rose gently over the forest, painting golden lines across the trees. Daniel woke near the cabin, stretching his tired muscles. The air was fresh, and for the first time in months, he felt energy inside him. He looked at the broken roof, the weak walls, and the shattered window. It was a big job, but he welcomed the challenge. Soon he heard footsteps approaching. Anna was coming, carrying a basket. She smiled as she saw him preparing his tools. Good morning, Daniel. I brought breakfast for you, she said, placing the basket on a wooden table. Daniel looked at the food with surprise. Simple bread, cheese, and fresh fruits. It was more than he usually ate in a day. He nodded in thanks and began to eat quietly, feeling grateful for the care she showed. I also brought tools, Anna said, opening the basket. There were hammers, nails, a saw, and some new wooden planks. Daniel's eyes widened. These were high-quality tools, far better than he had ever used before. Thank you. These will help a lot, he said, checking each tool carefully. Anna watched him closely, noticing the way he handled each item. There was pride in his movements and care in his work. Once breakfast was over, Daniel began repairs. He started with the roof. He climbed carefully, testing each plank before stepping. With skill and patience, he replaced broken wood, hammered nails firmly, and worked steadily as the sun rose higher. Birds chirped around him, and the sound of hammering blended with nature. Anna stood near the cabin, watching silently. Sometimes she spoke, asking questions about the work or suggesting small ideas, but mostly, she let him work. She enjoyed seeing someone pour effort and heart into a project. It reminded her that not everything in life could be bought. By noon, the roof was repaired enough to stop the rain from entering. Daniel wiped sweat from his forehead and smiled. It was small progress, but it felt big to him. You are fast and careful. I did not expect this, Anna said, genuinely impressed. Daniel shook his head. I have done this all my life. It is what I know, and I like fixing things. It makes me feel alive. Anna nodded quietly. She liked the honesty in his words. There was something rare about a person who worked without expecting praise or reward. After a short break, Daniel moved to the walls. Some wooden panels had rotted and needed replacing. He carefully measured each piece, cut the wood, and attached it with precision. He worked for hours, focused entirely on the cabin. Anna brought him water and a few snacks, sitting nearby but giving him space. As the day passed, a quiet connection grew between them. They did not talk much about personal life or money. The conversation was simple, about the forest, the cabin, and the work. Yet Daniel felt a sense of trust he had not felt in a long time. By late afternoon, the cabin was beginning to look stronger. The roof walls and windows were holding well. Daniel stood back, examining his work. He felt tired but proud. It had been months since he had felt this kind of satisfaction. Anna approached him quietly. "It is better than I expected." "You have done well." Daniel looked at her and smiled. "Thank you. It feels good to see it standing again." Anna nodded. She noticed how dirt and sweat had marked his face and clothes, yet his eyes shone with pride and calm. She wondered about the man behind the worn coat and old shoes. There was a story in him, a life that had faced hardship but had not given up. "Tomorrow we will continue with the windows and floor," she said. "I can see you know what you are doing, but this cabin still has more work than I thought." Daniel nodded eagerly. "I am ready. I will do my best." As the sun began to set, the forest glowed with golden light. Daniel packed his tools and prepared to sleep near the cabin again. He felt warm and safe, a feeling he had not experienced in a long time. For the first time, he believed he had found a place where he could belong. Anna watched him walk to his spot, a quiet smile on her face. She did not reveal anything about her wealth or life. She only felt that this man deserved a chance, and somehow she knew this small cabin would bring them both more than work. The day ended with calm in the forest, a repaired roof, and a silent promise of hope. The next morning, Daniel woke early as the sun peeked through the trees. He felt strong and ready. After a simple breakfast Anna had prepared, he began inspecting the windows. The glass was cracked and frames were weak. He measured each window carefully, noting which pieces of wood needed replacing and which nails were loose. Anna stood quietly by the doorway, watching him work. There was a calm in her presence, and Daniel felt comfortable, even though he barely knew her. She had not asked him about his past or his struggles. She treated him like a craftsman, not a man with nothing. That alone made him feel respected. As Daniel started removing the old window frames, he noticed small details about the cabin he had not seen before. There were tiny carvings on the walls, old paintings of flowers and trees, and shelves with delicate glass bottles. He paused, running his fingers over a carved wooden leaf. He wondered who had made these decorations. They were beautiful and careful, unlike the rough work that most cabins had. Anna noticed his curiosity. "This cabin has been here for a long time," she said. "It belonged to my grandmother. She loved the forest and built it with her own hands. That is why I want it repaired carefully, not just quickly." Daniel looked at her with interest. "Your grandmother built all of this?" he asked. Anna nodded. "Yes, she cared for every detail. That is why I keep it. It is not just wood and nails. It has memories." Daniel smiled faintly. "I understand. Some places are more than they look. They hold stories inside them." They worked together quietly, each focused on their tasks. Daniel replaced broken frames, carefully cut new wood, and fixed the glass. He was amazed at how sturdy the cabin was despite its age. There was care in the original construction, and he felt proud to continue that work. During a short break, Daniel looked around and noticed a small hidden door behind one of the shelves. It was old and dusty, almost invisible. He bent down to examine it and saw that it led to a tiny storage space. There were boxes with old papers, letters, and photographs. Daniel felt curious but did not touch anything. Anna came over and saw him looking at the door. "That space is very old," she said gently. "It has letters and photos from my family. They are private, but you can see them if you want." Daniel shook his head. "No, I respect that. I only wondered what was inside." "It looks important," Anna smiled. "It is. That is why I hired someone I trust to work here. This cabin is more than repairs. It is about care and respect." Daniel nodded, feeling proud. He had never been trusted like this before. Most people looked at him and assumed he was careless or unworthy. Here he was given responsibility, and he wanted to prove he deserved it. As the day went on, Daniel worked on the floorboards. Some were weak and cracked, others needed replacing. He hammered nails with precision, cut new wood carefully, and cleaned the space as he worked. The cabin slowly began to feel alive again, sturdy and welcoming. Anna occasionally brought water or snacks, but mostly she let Daniel work. Yet she noticed small things about him that made her curious. His eyes were focused yet gentle. His hands were strong but careful. There was a dignity in him that had not faded, even after so much hardship. By evening, the windows were strong, the floor was repaired, and the cabin felt safer. Daniel stood back, wiping sweat from his brow, and smiled. He could see the progress clearly. Anna came beside him. "You have done a lot today," she said. "This cabin is slowly becoming what it was meant to be." Daniel nodded. "It is satisfying to see it standing again. I have not felt this alive in a long time." Anna looked at him quietly, thinking about the man she had hired. She had watched many people in her life, but Daniel was different. He did not ask for wealth, attention, or praise. He only wanted to work and do it well. She did not reveal her secrets to him yet. She wanted him to be himself, without the weight of who she really was. As the sun set, Daniel packed his tools and prepared to rest near the cabin again. He felt a quiet happiness. The forest was calm, the cabin was stronger, and he had a place to belong, even if it was temporary. He lay down, looking at the stars through the trees, and thought about the strange, beautiful cabin and the mysterious woman who had given him a chance. He did not know her full story, but he felt that this place and Anna were the beginning of something new in his life. The morning sun filtered through the tall trees, casting warm light on the cabin. Daniel woke with a feeling of purpose. He stretched and checked his tools, ready to continue his work. The repairs were becoming more detailed now, and he wanted every piece of wood, every nail, and every window perfect. Anna arrived with a basket of breakfast. She placed it on the table and smiled. "Good morning, Daniel. You have been working hard. Take some time to eat before we continue." Daniel nodded, appreciating her care. "Thank you. This breakfast will give me energy for the floorboards and walls today." As they ate, Daniel noticed something different. Anna seemed relaxed, but there was a quiet strength in her. She spoke calmly, and her eyes followed him with a gentle curiosity. Daniel felt comfortable sharing his thoughts with her, even though they had known each other only for a few days. After breakfast, Daniel went back to work. He started with the remaining floorboards. Some were warped from years of rain and neglect. He carefully removed them, measured new pieces, and cut the wood to fit perfectly. Each board he placed brought the cabin closer to its former strength. Anna watched quietly. "You work with care and patience," she said. Daniel looked up and smiled. "I always try to. Rushing only causes mistakes. This cabin deserves careful work." Anna nodded, impressed by his dedication. Most people do not see things that way. They only want quick results. Daniel continued working, his mind focused on the rhythm of hammering nails and smoothing surfaces. Occasionally, he noticed small carvings and old marks left by previous owners. Each one seemed to tell a story. He wondered about the people who had lived here before and what memories the cabin held. Anna approached him with a small box. "I thought you might like a drink," she said. She handed him a cup of herbal tea, warm and fragrant. Daniel took it with gratitude. "Thank you," he said. "It is refreshing." They sat together for a few minutes, and for the first time, Daniel felt comfortable speaking about himself. "I have done repairs for many years," he began. "I never imagined I would end up on the streets, but life does strange things sometimes. I lost work, lost a home, and it became hard to find anyone who would trust me. But here I feel useful again." Anna listened quietly, not interrupting. She felt a deep respect for him. "Life can be unfair," she said gently. "Sometimes people face struggles they do not deserve. But it is important to keep moving forward, just as you are doing now." Daniel nodded, appreciating her words. "I try to. I never wanted to give up, even when everything seemed lost." After a short break, they continued with the repairs. Daniel worked on the walls, replacing old wooden panels and tightening nails. He cleaned the floor, swept away dust, and made the cabin more welcoming with each passing hour. Anna occasionally joined him, helping to hold wood pieces or passing him tools. Their conversation grew slowly, simple but meaningful. They talked about the forest, the animals, and small stories from their past. Daniel shared memories of his childhood, building small furniture with his father. And Anna shared stories of growing up near the cabin, without revealing her wealth. As the sun began to descend, the cabin looked stronger and more alive. Daniel stepped back, wiping sweat from his forehead, and smiled. He could see the progress clearly. Anna looked at him and said, "You have done an amazing job. This cabin has not felt this cared for in years. I am grateful you are here." Daniel felt warmth in his chest. He had never been thanked for work like this before. Most of the time, people only judged him for his clothes or the state of his hands. But Anna saw his skill and effort, not his past. As evening fell, Daniel prepared to sleep near the cabin again. He felt content and hopeful. The cabin was becoming a safe place, and for the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of belonging. Anna watched him quietly. She could see that Daniel was more than just a worker. He had a heart full of resilience and respect for life. She thought about the future and wondered how much this cabin and their time together might change both of them. The forest was calm, the sky painted in shades of orange and pink. Daniel lay down and looked at the stars through the trees. He felt a quiet connection to the cabin and to the woman who had given him a chance. For the first time in months, he slept peacefully, dreaming not of survival but of hope and new beginnings. The next day, Daniel woke early as usual. The cabin had already begun to feel like a place of life rather than ruin. The roof was strong, the windows were fixed, and the floorboards were steady under his feet. Yet Daniel knew there was more to do. The walls needed polishing, and the small hidden corners of the cabin still carried dust and neglect. Anna arrived with a basket of breakfast and a small smile. "Good morning, Daniel. Today we can focus on the smaller details. They are important too," she said, placing the basket on the table. Daniel nodded. "Every part matters. Even the smallest piece can change how the whole cabin feels." As he ate, Daniel looked around. Something about the cabin felt different today. The carvings, the hidden shelves, and the old photos seemed to be telling a story. His curiosity grew. He wondered about the people who had lived here before. Who had laughed in this cabin, and who had cared for it as carefully as he was doing now. Anna noticed him staring at the shelves. "These belong to my grandmother," she said quietly. She loved small treasures. "Every object has a memory behind it." Daniel smiled. "I can feel that. You can see the care in every corner. It is more than just wood and glass. It has heart." Anna nodded, pleased with his words. "Yes, that is why I wanted someone who would respect it, not just fix it quickly. Most people do not see what is hidden in old places." After breakfast, Daniel began working on the walls and corners. He cleaned, polished, and repaired. As he worked, he found an old wooden box hidden behind a panel. It was dusty and locked, but the key lay on a nearby shelf. Daniel carefully opened it and found old letters, photographs, and small keepsakes. Anna came over and looked at the box. "These are very old," she said. "They belong to my grandmother and her family. You can look if you want, but please be gentle." Daniel handled the items with care. He opened a letter and read the words slowly. They were simple notes about daily life, family events, and memories of the forest. He smiled as he read about small joys: a child learning to walk, a woman planting flowers, a man repairing furniture. "These are beautiful," Daniel said. "They tell stories without saying much. You can feel the love in every word." Anna watched him with quiet interest. "Yes, that is why this cabin is special. It holds the past and memories that cannot be replaced. I wanted someone who would see that." Daniel nodded. "I understand. I have repaired many buildings, but rarely have I felt connected to one like this. It is alive in a way." They spent the day together arranging the keepsakes, cleaning the hidden corners, and repairing the smaller details. Daniel noticed Anna's careful touch as she helped him. She did not need to work, yet she chose to participate. It was quiet work, but it brought a sense of partnership. As the sun began to set, the cabin looked more alive than it had in decades. Daniel stood back and admired the progress. The roof was solid, the walls were polished, the windows gleamed, and even the smallest corners told stories of the past. Anna joined him and smiled. "You have done more than I imagined. The cabin feels complete, not just fixed. You brought it back to life." Daniel felt a warmth in his chest. "I am happy it feels right. I wanted it to be more than repairs. I wanted it to be home again." Anna's eyes softened. She could see that Daniel respected the past and the effort that had gone into creating the cabin. He was not only skilled, but also thoughtful and careful. That evening, Daniel prepared to rest again near the cabin. The air was calm and the forest around them was quiet. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The cabin was no longer broken. It was alive with care, memories, and hope. Anna watched him quietly, thinking about the trust she had given him. Daniel had no idea about her wealth or her life beyond this forest, yet he treated the cabin with respect and heart. She knew that this trust was rare, and she felt grateful to have met someone like him. As the stars appeared in the night sky, Daniel lay near the cabin, thinking about the hidden stories, the work he had done, and the woman who had given him a chance. For the first time in a long while, he felt that life could hold beauty and hope, and that small acts of care could change everything. The morning sun rose over the forest, and Daniel awoke feeling rested. The cabin had transformed more with each passing day. The roof, walls, and floors were sturdy, and the hidden corners sparkled with care. Daniel had begun to feel a quiet connection to the place. It was not just work anymore. It was a home he was helping to restore. Anna arrived with her usual basket of breakfast. This morning, however, there was a small note in her hand. "I thought you might like this," she said, handing it to Daniel. It was a small photograph of the cabin from years ago, when it had been new and lively. Daniel smiled as he studied the photo. "It looks wonderful," he said. "Your grandmother took care of it well." Anna nodded. "Yes, and now it is returning to its former life. Thanks to you." Daniel felt warmth in his chest. He had never received so much trust from someone before. Anna had no reason to believe in him, yet she had given him the chance to work and show his skills. That trust was changing something in him. As the day began, Daniel focused on repairing the last sections of the cabin. The small attic above the main room had weak beams, and he carefully measured and replaced them. The sun streamed through the windows, lighting the dust in the air like tiny stars. Anna watched quietly, occasionally passing him tools or water. While working in the attic, Daniel found an old, folded piece of paper hidden in a corner. It was a letter addressed to someone named Thomas. He opened it gently and read the words. It spoke about hard times, choices made, and a hope for a better future. The handwriting was shaky but full of emotion. Daniel's curiosity grew. Who had Thomas been? Why had the letter been hidden in the cabin? He wondered if it was part of the family's history. Anna noticed him holding the letter. "That letter has been there for decades," she said softly. "It belonged to my father's brother. He had to leave the cabin for reasons I do not know completely. He wanted his words to stay here until someone could understand them." Daniel nodded. "I see, it feels personal, as if the cabin holds more than just wood and nails. It holds people's lives and memories." Anna smiled quietly. "Yes, that is why I am careful with it. Not everyone respects the past." "You do?" Daniel felt a mix of pride and humility. He had always repaired cabins and houses, but never had he been trusted with something so personal. It made him reflect on his own life, on the mistakes and losses that had brought him to the streets. Yet now here, he was given respect and responsibility. As they continued working together, Anna began sharing small stories about her life, without revealing too much. She spoke of walks in the forest as a child, her grandmother's love for planting flowers, and the quiet evenings spent reading by the fireplace. Daniel listened attentively, enjoying the calm and simplicity of her stories. For the first time in months, Daniel felt a sense of stability. He realized that while the cabin was being repaired, he was also repairing a part of himself. His confidence returned, and he began to dream of a future where he could work honestly and be trusted. By late afternoon, the main repairs were finished. The cabin looked strong and cared for, and Daniel felt satisfaction in his work. He cleaned his tools and admired the sunlight reflecting off the freshly polished wood. Anna approached him with a quiet smile. "You have done more than I expected. The cabin is alive again, thanks to your hands and heart." Daniel looked at her, feeling a mix of gratitude and curiosity. "Thank you for trusting me," he said quietly. "I have never felt this way before." Anna nodded, her expression thoughtful. She wondered if he would ever see her differently when he learned the truth about her life and wealth. For now, she wanted him to remain himself, focused on the work and the cabin. As the sun set behind the trees, Daniel prepared to rest near the cabin once more. He lay down under the stars thinking about the letter, the cabin, and the woman who had given him a chance. He felt hope for the first time in years and a quiet certainty that his life was beginning to change. The forest was calm, and the night was peaceful. The cabin stood strong and warm, holding stories of the past and the promise of a future that Daniel had never imagined possible.